right, people, welcome back to the Tim Black Show. And today I have a guest that you already know. In fact, this is like a friend. If you've been a fan of my show, you've probably seen her show. You know what she talks about, but just in case you haven't, she is an advocate and a candidate for the United States Senate representing Georgia. She also ran in 2020, knows her way around the block. She got a lot of votes. We're going to brag about that in a minute. She's a lead advocate for Georgia, HB 541, a bill that addresses the impact of slavery and the Jim Crow on the descendants of chattel slavery. My friend and yours, Tamara Shealey. Give it up for her. Hey, Tamara, how you doing?
Good, thank you. I'm so happy to be here on your show. I just want to say thank you again for the opportunity. I feel like, you know, my Oprah. I said it.
She said that earlier, guys. Like I told her before, it ain't gonna change. I wish I was. We'd be good. Because you have a studio, I'd have a studio, Rami would have a studio, some of the other people would have a studio if it was up to me. That's what we do. You know, yes. So unfortunately. But I appreciate it. And look, you ain't no slouch, sister. You doing your thing. I want to jump right into it because it's so impressive. You're running now, but can we back up a bit and talk about 2020? Because you pulled in an astonishing, I would think, for me, a layperson, over 100,000 votes. And we know you weren't backed by a bunch of corporate sponsors. How did you do that?
Tim, let me tell you, brother, I talk Black to Black people. You know, I talk about reparations. I talk about Black issues. I don't shy away from what needs to be said. And I think, honestly, that was a breath of fresh air for a lot of people. So to have gotten 106,000 votes in a race to the United States Senate with no damn money, there was millions of dollars ahead of us that were raised. But we made an impact. We made an impact in talking to Black people about things that matter resonated.
Like I said, I'm so impressed by that. You know, I have my own fantasies of doing something beyond what I'm doing now. When I look at running for an office, a Senate office, wow, that just seems like a major undertaking. What influenced you to do that?
Well, let's go back. I'm gonna go back to where I come from. I'm rooted in the beauty and barber industry. Believe it or not, I was a nail technician for 18 years. I did people's hands and feet. So in that capacity, you know, I know what service is. You know, anybody that can do that for a living, you know, that's a whole nother level of serving, right?
Absolutely.
But I started watching my industry politically, and that's when I started watching politics local to here in Georgia. Then I started watching politics national, and I realized that the air we breathe, the water we drink, everything is political. My industry was political, and it really opened my eyes to how politics is in every aspect of our lives. So that is what drove me into this running, because I've been running for a long time, brother.
Like I said, it's so impressive, and I think that as you stated, you talk Black to Black people. Wow, let's unpack that for a second. Black to Black people. That's amazing. So is that something that what made you do it? I mean, I know people in your ear telling you, you know, don't do this, let's be more sophisticated. We got to try to pull up Panera Bread voters. We got to try to appeal to some folks who like NASCAR more than they like NBA. Like what was going on when you did this?
So I'm gonna go back. So coming from the beauty and barber industry, in 2014 was my first run for office. I ran for the Georgia State Senate, and I ran against a staunch Republican. I live in northeast of Metro Atlanta. This district, predominantly white, quote unquote affluent, and it was a red district, had been red forever. I came out of the gate in 2014 running against this Republican, and got 37% against a Republican that Republicans couldn't get more than 20 some odd percent against him. So for me, coming out of the gate as a Democrat and getting 37% against this Republican in this very red district, it spoke volume. And God put it in my spirit, brother, to run again. And I came back and ran against him one more time in 2016 and got 43.8%. 43.8%. Now that was an increase, and I knew, I'm like, I gotta run one more time. And they knew that this was a win. But let me go back to your question about talking Black to Black folks. Even in that race in 2014, Tim, I've been Black all my life, right? Look, I've been Black all my life. So I didn't have a problem talking about race, racism, race relations. This is a white district. We need to have this conversation. And when they didn't bring it up, I did. So they knew I was a firecracker, but they didn't know how to handle me, because at that moment I really had a lot of momentum in 2014 and again in 2016. So when I got 43.8% in 2016, I knew I had to run one more time in 2018. And if you look at the numbers, the trend, if I did 7% more, it was a win. And that was my slogan, 7% more, 7% more, because that's all I needed to take this seat. Here's where, Tim, you're going to appreciate this. This is where I saw how and who the Democratic Party was. Like they showed me their hand, and I didn't see it running the first two times. I had my blinders on. I was focused on beating this Republican and getting these numbers up and really getting this, energizing this voter base that was asleep. The Democrats primaried me. Operatives inside of the Democratic Party primaried me in 2018, knowing this race was going to be a win. Now, Tamara had nurtured this district. This is the third election cycle consecutively that I have nurtured this district and garnered these votes, and operatives inside of the Democratic Party decided, she too Black. This ain't gonna work. She too vocal. She ain't gonna, and I've been Black all my life. So they primaried me with a white woman, Sally Harrell. She didn't have to do anything but show up and be white. And they voted for her. And I had some good white supporters that pulled me to the side and said, you know what? Here's the chatter. They're not gonna vote for you again over this white woman. So my race became a race. And the operatives inside the Democratic Party showed me who they were and showed me how party politics actually works. She beat me. She beat me in that primary. And all she had to do is hold on to Stacey Abrams' coattail in 2018, which she did. She didn't have to do anything but show up because she was a Democrat and hold on to the Black woman's coattail. And now Sally Harrell sits in the Georgia legislature off my work, off the work of 3 election cycles. She didn't earn that seat. She was white, and that was her privilege. And that's how she got that seat. But God had another plan, brother. I was mad, and rightfully so, I should have been. I was mad, I was hurt. My heart hurt. It didn't break my spirit. It broke my heart, but it didn't break my spirit. So God told me, go back to school, Tamara. So I got accepted to law school. Got accepted to Emory Law School, prestigious Emory University. I get accepted and now hold a Juris Master's degree. I didn't want a JD. A JD is for if you want to practice law. I have no intentions on arguing cases in a courtroom, but I do want to be able to navigate all aspects of the law because I want to write policy. I want to be on the forefront of it, not on the backside of it, arguing. So having this master's degree has given me now the lay of the land in the legal aspect. So I see things a little differently and I understand it on another level. But that was God in 2020. So here and put me back on the campaign trail. So bringing you up to speed to the race in 2020. It was a special election here in Georgia. Now y'all was watching, we had 2 U.S. Senate races on the ballot at the same time. You saw that thing, y'all was like, wait a minute, this is unprecedented. Normally we don't, our U.S. Senator Johnny Isakson was ill. So our governor, Brian Kemp, appointed Kelly Loeffler. But you remember where this is how Donald Trump got mad with Brian Kemp, our governor, is because Donald Trump told our governor to appoint Doug Collins. He was a congressman at the time. Brian Kemp didn't do that. He appointed Kelly Loeffler to the seat, and that's how she got in that seat. So that 2020 race was a special election for that seat. Raphael Warnock, Kelly Loeffler, Doug Collins, the top 3. Then there was Deborah Jackson. She was a mayor out of Lithonia, Georgia, which is east of Atlanta. 4th place. 5th place was Matt Lieberman. If you know, his daddy is Joe Lieberman, senator out of Connecticut. He came in 5th place. But then there was your girl right there, 6th place, underneath millions or influence. Millions in influence ahead of me. But we came in 6th place in that race to the United States Senate, talking Black again, talking Black to Black people. I know that was a long story, but I really wanted to bring you up to speed on how we got to where we are and what's to come.
It's very illuminating. It definitely shines a light on what's going on with the Democratic Party and how much of a threat talking Black really is, and how when you resonate with the Black base, they send somebody in to torpedo you. That's very disheartening, but it's real. I mean, you become very powerful. You're formidable, you're intelligent, you know the issues, and you relate to the constituency in a way that others just don't do. So, I mean, I get it. It's just wow. So you're doing this again, 2022. You're going to run again. What can make? Why you feel it can be different this time?
Well, this time, you know, we have Raphael Warnock became the U.S. Senator. Now, here you go. Here's where my pushback is. You know, this man stands in the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. You stand in the pulpit of Ebenezer Baptist Church, right?
Come on now.
I want you to have a Black agenda, a specific Black agenda, and he does not. On the campaign trail to 2020, when it came to the subject of reparations, I'm a reparationist, hands down. Reparations is at the top of my agenda, and we can talk about that in just a bit. But on the campaign trail in 2020, he supports the study. But what, you know, the study's been around since 1989. Of course, you're going to say you support the study. But here, and I want you to fact check me, as of, I haven't checked today, but the last time I checked, you know, we have Senate Bill 40, which is the same bill as HR 40. Senate Bill 40 was introduced in the Senate by Cory Booker. HR 40 is now being carried by Sheila Jackson Lee, which is the study for reparations. Same bill over in the Senate. He has not co-sponsored S40. He has not co-sponsored S40. So the difference this time is that you have a pastor. And here's where it breaks my heart even further. You know, this is still the Bible Belt here in Georgia. When people went to the polls and they saw a Reverend and they saw a Democrat and they saw this Black man, you got to understand, those of you that left the South. I never left the South. My family never left the South. I'm Native. And I'm gonna tell you, we're just not there. We're just not there. And I'm gonna tell you, this is still the old South. And the people you left, when y'all left, that mindset still exists. So when they saw a Reverend, they saw a Democrat, they saw a Black man, that identity politics, that emotionalism, all that wrapped up into his candidacy, he delivered the Black base and the Black church to the Democratic Party with no Black agenda and not even talking about reparations. And I'll stop there.
So detrimental.
I know I gave you a lot to chew on right there.
It's so detrimental, though, and I feel you, and I appreciate you giving us the benefit of your experience and what you know about the politics there in Georgia, and the lay of the land in a way that I haven't heard articulated before. And I look at Warnock, and not just him specifically, because I'm just learning this stuff about him, but the fact that he would not have a Black agenda, which I pretty much assume that's what makes him a safe Negro, is he doesn't have that agenda. If he did, well, he may have been torpedoed himself, right? So I'm always cognizant of these things, moving around in the background, so to speak. But so now that you're challenging him, wow, I would see him wanting to team up with you. I mean, I don't think he would withstand a real challenge from someone just highlighting the issues. I think would damage him. I mean, what can you say to no Black agenda when you are a Reverend, a Black man in Georgia, and you got a sister, you know, with a law degree that's with a master's challenging you on these issues? I mean, do you see where I'm going with this? Like this could be dangerous for him.
It is going to be dangerous for him. You know, this is sadly. I'm gonna go back to something you just said. When he didn't win in 2020. The smartest thing he should have done was to gather the Democrats. Now, this was a special election. There were 21 candidates on this ballot. Again, we came in 6th, right? There was 21 candidates. There was a lot of Democrats on this ballot. The smartest thing that the Democratic Party and Senator Raphael Warnock could have done was to gather your Democrats, bring us all in and say, how do we work together? I go back to this. This reminds me of Clinton and Sanders, when she should have brought him in, bring everybody into the fold as Democrats, and let's figure out how we run this race, this next leg together. You think he thought about the rest of the Democrats on this ballot? He didn't need us. And it showed he didn't need us in 2020. He was able to pull that race off because so many people wanted to get rid of Kelly Loeffler because of what she had done while she was in the U.S. Senate. So many people wanted to get rid of her. So he was able to pull it off without us, the rest of the Democrats on the ballot in 2020. But here's where this thing gonna come back to bite him, because you left us all out here and these issues, and the issues are still out here on the table, unaddressed.
Yeah, I don't hear from him. I can't remember the last time I heard from him, except for that time when they offered us, let's keep it real though. I think he got elected because of the money that was offered in that plan by the stimulus that everyone was talking about. Well, you get the Democrats in, we fill these 2 Senate seats, him and Ossoff, then we'll give you this $2,000, which turned down to $1,400. And I think people are going to still be upset about that. I'm still hearing people call into my show, Tamara, and complain about being juked. Complain
That
about,
lie.
And so
that lie.
He's got that strike on him now. And then you come in underscoring it, and then pointing out you got all this time, no black agenda since you've been in there. What good is having this guy if he's not going to have a black agenda?
Your guess is as good as mine. That's why we are primarying him. The primary is May 24th of 2022. That was a straight up lie. And then he's a pastor. How you let the Democrats tell this lie on you that, yes, you're going to send these $2,000 checks out the window and they end up being $1,400 and you say nothing? Pastor, you said nothing. That was a lie, Pastor. They lied to us and you let them lie to us, Pastor.
Yeah, I think it's
when the Asian hate bill that came down the pipe, he touted on Twitter about how proud he was to have sponsored that. Where's your black agenda? What have you done for us lately?
I'm just taking notes. I didn't know he did that. He sponsored that bill, but he won't sponsor the bill in the Senate for reparations. But
he's talking about reparations and be louder than me. Standing in that pulpit of Dr. King, standing in that legacy. You should be talking. Look at Bernice King. Did you see her tweet? She just came out talking about the $450,000 that could possibly go to the immigrants, the illegal immigrants that are coming into this country. But she made it quite clear that what about reparations for black people?
Right, absolutely. I made the same claim. Initially I looked at it like, okay, this is a lawsuit the U.S. needs to settle. They're going to settle. And here's the thing people are not saying. That's a low number, because if they don't settle at the $450,000, there could be potentially multiple millions of dollars per litigant in this lawsuit. So that's cutting a deal. So it's a lot more money on the table here. So I'm not against these folks. Let me just be clear, Tamara. I'm not against these folks getting their money. I want to use that as leverage to get our money. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So there's I know it's a subtle difference, but it's a difference. I think I know I want to separate myself from those on the right. Well, like, you don't deserve money, you don't deserve. Well, if they lock my cousin up and whatever, seeking asylum is not illegal. Now, if people are seeking asylum and you can't just treat people how you want to treat them. Any lawsuit, I support lawsuits if you can prove them. That's it, regardless of who it is. But
then on the other side of that too, to add on to what you said, they came into this country, and I'm with you there. The treatment was inhumane. I'm with you. But the precedent that this sets for future lawsuits, I don't know where this could go. We got to be mindful that where does this go from here?
Yeah, I agree. Where does it go? My thing is, like, Trump, look, the thing about it, and I don't want to go too far down this road because I know people are going to go crazy in the comment section, but I'll just say, this is Trump, man. Trump, he knew it was wrong when he did it. No one made him stop. Trump stopped on his own. Like he gave this order to Attorney General Sessions. They changed it 4 months later. He did that on his own volition. So someone had to tell him, you done stepped into it, Trump. And maybe this is not a good look. And he rescinded it. He modified the decree. So that's why they stopped doing it to that extent. Like, as far as the no tolerance, the zero tolerance. And maybe they just need to change how they do business. I'm not saying that means there's no border, but there has to be a way in which you guard the border without putting yourself in legal jeopardy. Like the law was the law before Trump did this. Obama deported a lot of people. He didn't get sued for it. So there was a difference in the way that, we down this road, but it's different than the way that Trump did.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? They gonna go buck. But give us our money. Like my thing is, I ain't pocket watching these 500 people. I'm not pocket watching them. Pay us. That's all. Pay us. I see it as, and I'm gonna let you talk, Tamara. I see it as a way for us to get leverage to get ours. That's all I'm looking at. I'm concerned about us. What do you think?
Yeah, it is, you got to think about where this separation of families started. You got to understand, we were the first families that were separated in this country. You took our babies, you sold us off, you sold off women, husbands, and children. You sold us all off. You separate our families. This started with us. You owe us, America. And that's why it goes, I'll take it forward to my candidacy and my campaign. My goal with my agenda is to create the Reparations Administration. The same way we have the Social Security Administration, the same way we have the Veterans Administration. This is generations of redress that needs to happen for those of us who are descendants of chattel slavery. This is generations of work. Yes, they're going to have to cut the check. Let's be clear. That is a part of it, but it needs to be a very holistic approach. And whatever that is, it'll be whatever it needs to be. My goal is to create the agency that will do this work. I am not an economist. I do lean on the work of Dr. William Sandy Darity. If you haven't read his book, From Here to Equality, I encourage you to read it. I lean on his work, and we just have to have the federal agency in place to start this holistic approach to repairing those of us who are descendants of chattel slavery in this country.
I love the agency idea. That's got teeth. That is a different approach to it. And the legitimacy of an agency set aside for this is you walking directly into it and saying, we mean business, this is the intention, and this is how far we've thought about this. I think that's much needed in this discourse. So support reparations. Is there anything else in your Black agenda other than reparations?
Well, I am a Democrat. Let me say this, because I'm telling you, the pushback I get is, are you a Democrat? You a Democrat? Yes, I am a Democrat, but I'm very much so, Tim, independent in my thinking. Like, I don't toe the party line. This is why Democrats fight me the way they do. And I'm very intentional about reaching across the aisle. I think that it's going to take, it will definitely be a bipartisan approach to whatever policy is initiated, specifically the Reparations Administration. It will be a bipartisan approach. So yes, my agenda, going back to your question, it has criminal justice reform. I talk about marijuana. I'm a Democrat. I stand on the Democratic platform, everybody. Here's where I differentiate from Warnock is on reparations. It's at the top of my agenda. I'm fighting tooth and nail. I'm fighting with everything in me to get this policy initiated first. Because honestly, I really believe that in order to fundamentally change the state and fate of Black America, reparations, hands down, to me, is the only policy that will do it. We have to be specifically addressed in order for things to change for us. And it's economic. I'm spent a lot of time on the ClubHouse app, and we were talking about, I brought up the example of crime. It was a room and I was in the room with progressives and liberals, right? And trust me, they pushed back on me harder than the Republicans. I fight my own people harder than I fight Republicans. I'm telling you I do. So we were in the room and I wanted this person to really understand crime. You know, why do you think we have crime in our communities? And this person was like, well, we need to address people being stopped by the police. And those things, I get it. They're branches on the tree of crime and how we're policed. I get it. But the root of it is economics. People are hurting. People are just surviving. Every generation of us, we just survive generation to generation. So going back to your question of, you know, I know I'm kind of on a tangent, but I just want people to really hear that I am a Democrat. I stand on a Democratic platform, but reparations is truly why I'm going to Congress. And I'm laser focused there, Tim, because you become diluted when you try to promise the world as an elected official or politician. You become diluted. I can't do everything while I'm there. But the one thing that I am committed to is reparations and the repair and the redress of Black America. I know I went on a tangent there.
No, this is dope. I'm just thinking which direction to go. Let's just go back to so they push back on your reparations stances, the liberals, the progressives.
The progressives, oh my gosh. And this crazy part, let me tell you, I was a Bernie crap in 2016. Like I have a Bernie t-shirt. I was rah Bernie. But when Bernie ran and Bernie did not specifically address reparations, and I didn't feel like Black people was included enough in his agenda, I had to take my Bernie hat off. I'm like, I can't ride with you, Bernie. And that's when I got on the Marianne Williamson train. And I'm like, okay, she's taking us further down the tracks. Now, granted, she didn't get it all the way right either, but she did take us further down the track than any of the other candidates. So yeah, the progressives, my fellow progressives push back, my fellow liberals, they push back the hardest around reparations.
Wow. Yeah, I've experienced it. So yeah, I've experienced it. It is a slap in the face, big time. I definitely concur with you there. I'm going through that too, and I say, wow. So the Republicans are more receptive to it. The conservatives are more receptive.
And I have 3 talking points. Let me tell you what they are.
Please.
When I talk to Republicans, I have 3 talking points. I talk about how reparations will stimulate the economy. I mean, hell, think about it. Whatever monies we get, Tim, what we gonna do with it? We will not put it under the mattress. It will stimulate this economy. We're all here in America. It's gonna help this country, right? I talk about how it will lower the tax burdens, number 2. And I talk about how we could either eliminate or reallocate dollars from dead-end social programs that we're locked into. And let me tell you where this 3rd talking point comes from. I was on Instagram and there was a girl on Instagram who was offered $2 more an hour on her job. And she didn't take the raise because she knew that if she had taken that raise, that it would affect her housing. So she understood that I can't even take more money to pull myself out of the situation I'm in, because I might not have a place to stay if I do that. So we have to be mindful that a lot of these social programs, and I'm not going to Washington to create any more damn programs. No, cut the check.
Right.
Cut the check. No more programs. They have us locked in these programs and have us dependent on the system. And when I talk about stimulating the economy, lowering their tax burden, because you're going to have more people participating. When I talk about reallocating monies from dead-end social programs, Republicans hear me and they perk up. They ask other questions, but those 3 talking points, they like. Yes,
they do like. And you're right. It is a game changer. And it has me reanalyzing how I regard myself. Do you consider yourself a progressive? Someone recently asked me that, and if so, how do you define that term?
I want to be. I want to be, but I don't feel like they are as progressive as they claim to be, and that's not authentically me. So I define myself more as an independent Democrat. Like I'm much more, like I say, I'm very independent in my thinking. So I would like to be a part of this progressive vote. I felt like that during my previous runs, but as I continue to engage politically, I don't feel like we fit. And I don't like the fact that we don't fit. And they're not, I wish progressives would hear us. They don't hear us. I don't know what they hear, but they don't hear Black people.
Yeah, I tend to look at it like they want the Black vote. And if you and I can be instrumental in helping them secure that, then we're good. But once we start advocating for Black people specifically, we become their enemy, which has been my experience. I was surprised. Number of relationships I had, people that I had worked with for years. I think, and I admire the fact that you saw it and you said, you know what, I'm getting out of this. As far as once you saw Bernie was not pushing for Black issues. I did some gymnastics, I'm gonna keep it real. I thought, well, Bernie he can't be for these great policies that are the best in the field and not be for Black reparations or Black agenda. Maybe he's just gonna wait. Maybe he gonna wait till he get in. Maybe
you were hopeful.
There you go. He gonna wait till he get in. They're gonna try to destroy him if he say it now. He gonna do it. But then, like later, after I talked to people that worked the campaign, they were like, "No, Tim, that's who he was. That's who he is." And he wasn't waiting for no special time to drop the bomb on him. That's how he rolls. And I'm like, wow, I wish I would have told me that during the time because that would have changed things for me. But I understand where you're coming from about progressives. I saw a video clip of yours. You talked about challenging the left. You said the Democrats, I watched a portion of your broadcast, I was impressed, a recent broadcast, you said the Black bottom is falling out. Please explain what you mean by the Black bottom falling out.
It's falling out. You look, me, you, there's more of us. There's a lot of us who are now seeing this party as not being the big tent that it claims to be, and watching us as a people. We vote as a block. You know, we undergird this party. We are the foundation of the Democratic Party, and we're being ignored. And many of us are saying, "Wait a minute now, we see this, and we're not going to stick around and be a part of a party who doesn't embrace our issues and not concerned about us as voters." So the Black bottom is falling out. This generation of us, I'm in my late 40s, this generation of us and younger, we don't have the same loyalty to the Democratic Party as the older generation does. And they better be mindful. And I think they are, because honestly, I think that what they see is an opportunity to engage other ethnicities. And they seem to be more concerned with other ethnicities versus those of us who have been the most loyal to them. I think that they see it, and I think what I see is the transition from they're leaving us and we're leaving them, which is fine. I think Black people, we need to say, let's stick together and let's start now being very intentional about who we give that vote to. We have currency, the money in your pocket and that vote. And for both of them, that's an exchange. I give this to you, I expect something in return, right?
Right.
So that this vote ain't free no more. It ain't free no more. So we're free agents. We get to now, hopefully now we'll be more intentional. I started an initiative in 2018. Let me share this with you. When I didn't win, I told you I was mad when that happened to me with being primary, and I started an initiative called Withhold the Vote in 2018. And it did not say don't vote. Withhold is a legal term. Withhold means to hold back. It means I'm not going to give you, I'm going to hold on to this until we get this negotiation right. So I started an initiative called Withhold the Vote. I took so much heat because they were trying to, and it was intentional, they were trying to make it seem like I was telling people not to vote. I said, if you don't vote, that is your choice, but I'm telling you to withhold it and use it as a negotiating tactic. You give me something, I'll give you something for this vote. So it was me and my approach trying to help people to see that, you know, like again, this is currency. The money in your pocket and the vote is an exchange.
I think about Chris Tucker has a joke about going to the drive-thru. And he said, I don't want to give people my money. I'm going to give you my money at the first window. Where my food at? You know? Same time, same time, same time. And that's what popped into my head. So all you're saying, Tamara, is, okay, I'm going to give you a vote, but here we go, same time. Give us our stuff, and then I give you the vote. Like, there we go.
Don't make me drive up to the next window. Look, and then you got my order wrong.
There you go. I don't know what's up there. That could be another party up there. I don't know what's up at that next window. Might be another store. I don't know if you get that, but I don't know who's up there. The window might be shut down when I get up there to pick up my food.
Okay. And you done took my money.
There you go. So I don't know what's wrong. I don't know why people see that as a problem. I think there was a time, for me, there was a time when I would have looked at it if it wasn't fully articulated. But like you said, they just don't want to fully articulate your position. It's a smear. So they want to smear you, box you in, and use your words against you, knowing damn well you want something for your vote. If they'd have said reparations, they'd have said a black agenda. Look, we're gonna legalize marijuana, and one of my big things is I'm from DC, Tamara, and we had what's called, at the time I wasn't living in DC, I was living in Maryland, and I'm not that old enough that I could have voted for him. But I remember Mayor Marion Barber. He was a mayor for life because he did something that black mayors didn't usually do. He had a mandate, he had an executive order where he said, I'm gonna give black small businesses 30% of the contracts in DC government. That enabled black small businesses to thrive. There's no reason why we can't have initiatives similar to that. I don't want to get on my soapbox long, but I'll just say, if we are 14% of the population and 50% of the homeless population, and you don't see a correlation to economics progressives, I don't think you can call yourself progressive. So part of my black agenda is to infuse not just reparations, but also other initiatives like that have teeth, that are about our economics, not just the weed part. Because I know a lot of people, we're going to legalize weed. Okay, that's great, but we're going to still need some money because of weed. Now we got to go to the dispensary. So we're going to still need money in order to buy it, and we're going to need money in order to pay these high prices for rent because the rent's too high. I don't know. When you say you're still a progressive, when you say you're a Democrat, what are some other Democrat policies that you still rock with? Is it the standard issue, Medicare for all, universal health care, some type of program?
Okay. I
Okay.
do support Medicare for all, public education, criminal justice reform. I do believe that we should legalize marijuana in this country, but I don't want us to legalize it without first decriminalizing it. Like, I want to see everything done on the front end. Like you say, that scenario, Chris Tucker, we're not going to take it at this first window, and then you don't know. I want you to decriminalize marijuana first before we legalize it, because I'm afraid that too many people will still get caught in the system. We'll still have our people locked up over something now that's profitable to this nation. No, decriminalize it first, and then we can legalize it. So yes. I'm with you there.
Makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. So 2022 is coming up. We got a strong support of reparations, a black agenda. What are you? Oh, no, let's talk about your show. I'm sorry, let's talk about your show. So, folks, if you're not aware, Tamara has a show where she says "Keeping Up with Congress." What's your show about? It sounds like I get it, but could you explain a little bit more about what you do?
So I have been, I started this back in January. Keeping Up with Congress, I do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 p.m. to 5:30, just 30 minutes, because this is a lot to digest. We have gone through the first 1,000 bills in the House, and now we're almost through 1,000 bills in the U.S. Senate. So this is where I'm encouraging us to be more engaged in who these legislators are and what type of bills are coming down the pipe. Like, a lot of these legislators have sweet spots. Certain things they champion, they initiate. And see, this is where I get mad again at this Warnock, because it's like, you went there. Who are you? Some of these legislators, they're about climate. They're about veterans. They're about You know, they have initiatives that they champion. They have a voice. My thing is, when Warner, I'm gonna come back to your question, keeping up with Congress, but let me say this because it's in my head. My thing is, when he went to Washington, if nothing else, if he didn't address Black people specifically, the homeless, right outside of Ebenezer Baptist Church, across the street, there is a empty lot. And in that lot is a homeless camp. So at the least he could have done in Congress was to been a voice and a champion for the homeless. And my thing is a policy that says, let's declare homelessness as a public health crisis. Let's throw everything we have behind the unsheltered, these people that are living on the street. This is mental health, you know? So going back to keeping up with Congress, I know I went on a tangent there too, but keeping up with Congress is literally about shedding a light on the bills that have been introduced numerically coming in Congress, the House and the Senate, and who these legislators are, and being familiar. Tim, I don't want to go to Washington and not know the players and not know the game. So this was homework for me, but it was also an opportunity for those that follow me and are, you know, let's learn together.
Right. What an amazing approach. Something I haven't heard anybody else doing. Sounds very unique in the space. Actually going over these bills, educating people on bills, what's going on in their Congress with their elected officials. Wow, who knew that that someone was doing that? I had no idea. I know you had a show. I didn't know it went that in depth. So people, you need to follow this show and follow Tamara's show and learn about what your representatives are focusing on and see what's in front of them, what's on their desk. Because they sign these things, some of the stuff get passed in the dark of night, in the middle of the night. We don't know what's going on. And then I read about it later in Politico or the Daily Beast or something. I'm like, when did that happen? So sounds like you're on top of that. But I also, man, you got so much to say about Warnock. That's interesting.
And you know what? You want to hear something else?
Please.
I went to high school with him.
Oh, okay.
That it goes back even further. He and I actually we're both from Savannah, so we went to the same high school. He's actually a year or two older than I. I remember seeing him around when we weren't friends, but we have the same circle of friends back home. So the same nurturing and tutelage that he had, we were both on the Upward Bound program together at Savannah State. So the same nurturing and tutelage that he has, I have too. You know, I come from, my family is from rural Georgia. He grew up in the projects. I grew up in the country. So we both have a story, you know, like I say, those of us who our families never left the South, we still have very deep rooted Southern roots, you know, and we, you know, y'all left, you're not here, but those of you that left, when you come back, this is still the old South, Tim. This is still the old South where there's parts of Georgia where you go into, the internet is barely works. You know, it's still very wooded. You know, there's a long stretches of highway that you don't want to be out there after dark. So, you know, this is still the old South. When, you know, you think of Georgia and most people think of Atlanta, hot Atlanta, the Black Mecca. But once you leave Atlanta, I need you to remember you are in Georgia and this is still the South. This is the whole South.
What do you mean when you say that? You said that earlier and I let it go because I was like, okay, we got so much to talk about. We got a little time now. When you say this is still the South, educate a city boy from DC and Northern Maryland. What's that mean?
Well, we still have some very, you know, rural Southern ways. You know, there's a lot of there's still people that don't look white people in the eye. I remember a white, and this is my story, a white person telling my son that, because I taught my kids, you look everybody in the eye. When you shake his hand, it's a firm hand grip, and you look him in the eye. And I remember a white person telling me and my son, oh, he looked me right in my eyes. So this stuff still lives, I'm telling you.
Whoa.
You know, you go into some of these rural areas, these people coexist down there, but they know, these people, the Confederate flag still waves here, okay? That's still normal behavior. Like, so when I say it's the old South, I need you to know this is still the old South. There's a mentality that still lives here.
So these folks that I encounter on a daily basis, particularly on Facebook, who for some reason don't understand why I'm talking about race. They just don't get it. Ms. Johnson Shealey, they don't get it. They're all Tim Black. You are divisive. You're dividing us. Sure, what's wrong? All us blacks, all our blacks get along just fine with us here wherever I live. And you're saying it's very evident in Georgia that there's a lot of racism that still exists. We're not in a post-racial situation. Yeah, we had Obama. People forget he half white and from Hawaii, and that don't have any bearing on the people that exist in the country and what they believe. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, this exactly. And we're still here. Like these conversations still have to be had. I spend a lot of time on Clubhouse because I like the audio apps. I mean, you can talk to people in real time. You can really make some serious connections. I host a room there, Tim, on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Let me share this with you and your audience. On Tuesdays, this room is called #White Women for Reparations. We literally, right now, we're listening to an audio book titled They Were Her Property. And in this book, for those that maybe hadn't heard of the book, this really shines a light on the role that white women played in slavery. And the stuff that I'm learning, like they talked about wet nurses and how we were used to feed breast. They bought us to breastfeed and feed. Just hearing those stories about, and hearing the stories about how white women bought us and used us for prostitution. Like literally, it made me think about how hypersexual we are as a people, and hell, that's where this came from. Like y'all bought us and bred us. Y'all bought us and raped us and did things to us and this book. So in this room on Tuesdays in Clubhouse, it is an hour listen, and that's probably all I can take, honestly, because it's so much for me. It triggers me in a way that I'm not the angry Black woman, but hell, listening to that, it will make you angry. So that's on Tuesdays on the Clubhouse app. And then on Thursdays, I host a room with some more white women, and this room is called Hard Conversations. White women, Black women, let's talk. And when I tell you it gets deep, because it comes up and we have these hard conversations. But this race work, going back to what we're talking about, the Old South, and does racism still exist? It absolutely does. It's been covered up so well, it's dressed up so nice these days, but it still lives. And I'm just blessed to be able to be a voice in a space with white people where we're being received, and they really are trying, Tim. There's the white people and the white women that follow me and support reparations. We really do have some allies. Like, I'm excited because they excite me, and I call them modern day abolitionists, because they really want to get it right. Now, do they get it wrong sometimes? Absolutely. They still get it wrong. But the fact that they are trying, if they take one step, I'll take two.
Yes. And one of the things I try, and I can't say I'm always doing it, but I try, I try to be patient, because sometimes in my spirit, I think people know stuff that they don't know. Okay, so just because we do the work, we do the research, I just thought everyone knew this stuff, just walking around denying reality. But I've told people about the GI Bill and how Black people were excluded from it. And I had veterans go, what? White veterans like Florida didn't have any idea. I told them about the New Deal and how they wrote us out of that effectively. And there were people like, what, really? Because it's not taught in the schools. That America strategically, intentionally did not include us in legislation that created this middle class. So they're walking around thinking Black people had all the same opportunities, but only problem was you couldn't eat at the same place. They're like, so what? You had opportunity, but they don't realize the ramifications of the government actions. So that's my thing that I try to work on. Tim, count to 10. Pretend this person doesn't know. Pretend that they're not a bad actor. Pretend they just don't know, and you got to inform them. then you can get, then you can go in. Then you can roast them. But don't roast them yet. Find out what they know and what they don't know.
Yeah. And honestly, they know something. And like you said, we just have to be I try to be just like you, very patient. And I'm very patient. Like I said, doing nails for 18 years taught me the patience that I need to do this kind of work. So I give them a lot of grace and room to get it wrong, because as long as they keep trying, I'm going to keep trying.
Wow, that's a great way to look at it, and also without being a pushover, also, what I'm saying, and that's, standing firm, because I got no problem standing firm, but also trying to do it in a way that you're still advocating strongly your issues that you care about. It's a lot. It's you do a great job at it. It's not easy to do it. Tamara, what would you like to tell people before we leave? Is there anything, I know I talked a lot, is there anything that you would like to share with my audience before we go? I'm going to put all your links and stuff down at the bottom, but any parting words, maybe about your candidacy or whatever?
Yeah, I'm just asking, if we are going to get reparations, I say this all the time. I'm running here in the state of Georgia, but this is a national agenda. This is a national agenda. So we're going to need all hands on deck, because Black people have to understand this and support this before anybody else can or will. So I'm asking everybody, no matter where you are in these United States, I will be your U.S. Senator. I will be your U.S. Senator, because this is a national agenda. Reparations is a national platform. I know we have states and local municipalities that are initiating reparations-like agendas, but that is not reparations. It does not completely blanket all of us. So I will be your United States Senator in Congress, in the United States Senate. So I need all hands on deck. And this is my plea, is that you will go to the website. Y'all, we got to raise a whole lot of money. And, it takes a lot of money to run a statewide campaign. It will take money. We need it. Every dollar counts. No donation is too small. Do what you can and do it consistently. We have 6 months. We literally have 6 months until this primary election. In the next 6 months, will determine whether or not we take this bold agenda. This is a bold agenda to create our reparations administration. This is a bold agenda to hold legislators accountable. This is bold. We got 6 months to do it. If there was another candidate that was as bold as I am, trust me, I wouldn't be running. I promise you, I would be supporting them right here and right now. So I'm asking, this is my plea. Please go to the website, donate, donate, donate. We got 6 months until the primary election, and we have to get past this in order to make it to the general election. I honestly feel like if we can get past Senator Reverend Warnock and break this stronghold that he has over Democratic voters, because there's a stronghold, and that ain't no good stronghold. The stronghold of him being a pastor, it's an illusion. Him being a pastor, him being Black, him having Democrat behind his name, it's an illusion, and people feel like he's gonna do something, just like you was hoping that Bernie would. We can't run another race or pin our hopes on another politician on what they might do. I'm telling you, the first bill that I will be writing is this reparations administration bill. Hands down, I'm going in writing this bill. So I ask that you please go to the website and support.
Look, I have to agree with it. It's the truth. It's honest. It's real. What good is fighting for somebody to get in the office if when they get there, they have no intentions of fighting for you? They have no game plan that includes you specifically in a party that without you is nowhere. So, I'll take my lumps. It's what it is. I learned the hard way, guys. Don't you learn the hard way, Georgia. Go to the website, it's below. Support this candidate. Black Georgians, do it. White Georgians, allies who know it's way past time. Let's get involved. Tamara, I want to thank you so much for spending time with us today. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Tim. I appreciate you. Thank you for all you do.
That's it, guys. I'll see you on the next one. And cut.